Hey, I'm still alive. How you guys doing? I hope you're all doing well. Sure, everyone's got lots going on in their lives and have been enjoying the weather changes and everything. Yeah. We're gonna do like a not super long stream today. It's probably only gonna be like maybe an hour or an hour and a half. And we're once again gonna play Risk of Rain because that's my go-to game. Even though I'm not the best at it. We'll try to beat Mithrix today. And see if I can actually not get my ass handed to me. Hey, nice. Glad you're still alive. I still feel like shit. No, I'm coming down with like a cold. So I've got like the sniffles. And the stuffy nose, so I don't know if I sound like it, but I sure as hell feel like it. We're gonna do command, because I want to give myself the best chance. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. Yeah, man, it's been rough. I feel like my body's just not wanting to exist lately. It's just got some other plans on its mind. And my husband keeps being like, it's fine because you're cooking a human. And I'm like, fucking, I can't stand you. So that's great, you know. Pregnant or not, I'd like to not feel like shit. It's like they don't tell you how bad the first trimester is. They just are like, pregnancy so beautiful, children, wow. And then the first trimester happens and you're like, what kind of horrible fucking mistake have I made? But, you know, I'm sure it'll maybe get better. I keep being promised that it'll get better at like 12 to 15 weeks. And Tuesday will be 11 weeks for me. So here's hoping. But, I don't know, we'll see. Ooh, good news about that though. I went to my doctor last week. And, they said that I can do, I'm far enough along to do the genetic testing. So I'm gonna do that this upcoming week. But I don't know how long it takes to get the results and everything. The real exciting part about that is they do the gender too. So we'll have a little mini gender reveal, which will just be me going, hey guys, it's a dog. But I think that'll be fun. My family was laughing at me because they were like, the gender doesn't really matter because either way you're just gonna put the child in whatever clothes you feel like putting the child in. And I was like, you right though. Like, I'm half tempted to to make a bunch of like adorable baby cosplays and just to like dress this child up as anime characters for the first like 2 years of its life. But you know, I'm sure people would think that I was a piece of shit. I think it would be funny. But anyways, yeah, my weak-ass immune system was like, hey, let's catch a cold. So, here I am. Fucking, speaking of colds, the temperature outside has been crazy. It's been like up and down. Where like some days it'll be like 40, 30. And then some days it'll be like 70. And like I know it's still spring. But damn. I have like a bunch of plants that I planted for my garden. And I'm terrified to put them outside because I'm worried that we'll have a day that's 30 and it'll just fucking annihilate them. And I don't want them to die. Yeah, it's insane because like there was a day where it was like 75, almost 80. I was like sweating balls, And then like the very next day it was like raining and like 20. And I was like, what happened? Where did the sun go? I mean, I guess Mother Nature, do your shit, but like, damn, it's rough for sure. I have some summer squash that I want to plant in these big flower. These words are really hard for me right now, so forgive me if I like stutter a lot. I have these big standing planters that I got. I got 6, but I've put together 1. But I want to plant my starters that I've been growing inside. I want to move them outside finally. But like I just don't want them to get like annihilated. Because that's the worst. You like have something inside for like 2 months, it's growing so well, you're like, yeah, I'm a gardener, and then you put it outside and the sun just fries it, or the cold just freezes it to death, and you're like, I should have kept my baby inside and safe forever. So yeah, I just don't want it to die. Come monsters, I need more money. Thought it was a little money thing, but it's a chest. Yeah, you know, I've tried that before where I've been like, plants, just fucking stay alive, please. And they look me straight in my eye and they say, die. And then they die. So I don't know, I don't think it's working. Speaking of bullshit, though, let me tell you about my dog. My dog is plotting my death, okay? Hobbs is my oldest dog. He is a Husky Shepherd mix. And he's normally like a super good boy. Never does anything wrong, follows all the rules. Good boy. He is like the epitome of like a man's dog. Every man I've ever met who's met him has fallen deeply in love with Hobbs. To the point of being like, can I steal your dog? But he's been up to something lately, and that something is not fucking listening to me. So Huskies particularly are very known for a specific trait that they have of not wanting to come the fuck inside. And Hobbs has never really shown any signs of this trait. Well, okay, he's shown a little bit of the signs of not wanting to come inside, but like it's not as bad as like most Huskies, so it's always been like manageable. Gimme, no barking. And I don't know, recently he's decided he just lives outside. He says, I'm an outside dog. You can't control me. This is where I belong. And then he just refuses to come the fuck inside. And the thing is when he does it to my husband just picks him up and carries him inside, and it's fine. He's like, whatever, you have no power here. And Hobbs is like, oh, father, ha 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 ha. And they like have their little bro-ass moment. For me, I can't get Hobbs inside. And I try to pick him up, and he becomes 3,000 pounds of dog. And I am unable to lift this fat bitch. And I die. And he has no cares in the world. He has no concerns. He is fine. He is happy. He is outside. And then I have no choice but to fucking leave him outside. And then I don't know, it's like, it's a combination of like a guilty conscience for leaving him outside. A fear of the neighbor's judgment of me being a bad dog owner for not bringing my dog inside. And the stress of the fact that I have a neighbor that leaves their dog outside for too long, but their dog is a fucking hound, and so the dog just sits outside fucking bowling, like super loudly barks for hours upon hours. And so that fear and anxiety of Hobbs just suddenly deciding he knows how to use his voice is like in the back of my mind the whole time. So the problem is if it was afternoon or something, I'd just leave the bitch outside. I don't care. I would, if I heard him, I'd listen for him to be a troublemaker, and if I heard him, I'd let him in. But the thing is every morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. I wake up at 5 a.m., I walk and feed my dogs, and then I go back to sleep until like 8 or 9. This is just how it's always been. But I can't fall back asleep because the anxiety of knowing he's outside, possibly being evil, makes it impossible for me to sleep. And as somebody who is, again, pregnant and upset about everything, I cannot handle it. So I just like sit in my bed full of anxiety. And because I've been so fucking emotional, let's talk about that for a second. So when you're in the early stages of pregnancy, your hormones are doing a lot of weird things, trying to make things happen. And in doing so, it really fucks you up. And so your hormone levels are all kinds of wonky. So with certain medical conditions and certain things, hormones are really important to be stable. A good example is if you have depression, it's important that your hormones are relatively stable, because having unstable hormones can drastically affect your depression and mood changes. So I'm not having a good time with the hormone changes. It's very, very difficult for me because I do have a lot of pre-existing issues that make me very susceptible to being an insano fucking weep bitch the second like something goes wrong. So it'll start out that I'm just like annoyed with Hobbs, and I'll be like, this little asshole, this little bitch, and then it goes to me like fucking full on the floor weeping like my life is in danger because I'm like unable to cope with the idea that I have to leave him outside because I can't get him back into the house. Which is so stupid. It's like extra dumb. And then that like weeping is so intense that it makes it, again, me completely unable to go back to sleep. And like pregnancy, again, it's fucking full of shit. Oops, I didn't mean to hit that. I meant to kill the thing. It's gone. Whatever. So one of the other problems is you have to adjust a lot of your medications. So if you're on existing medications, a lot of the time you'll kind of get fucked where you have to find an alternative, but there is none. Where there's not a good alternative. And so that's one of the problems that I'm having. I have PTSD, and one of my symptoms is really, really severe, horrifying nightmares. Like debilitating nightmares, unable to sleep nightmares, nightmares that have like a physical impact because of how it affects my sleep and my life as a whole. Cammy and Mari are playing in the background, so you may hear them growling and snarling at each other, but they love each other. Don't worry about it. What do I want? I want these. And so I had to stop taking the medication that helps me sleep without dreaming. Which, like, I don't know, seems like not a big deal for most people, but if I'm dreaming, I'm having nightmares. So I don't sleep very deeply. And when I do sleep deeply, I have those intense nightmares that wake me up and, like, it's hard to explain for anyone who's never had like PTSD, but it's like if you have like an episode, which could be a flashback, Cammy, you little asshole, get out of here. She bit my foot. A flashback, a depressive episode, a situation where you get stuck thinking about the past or whatever, any sort of like PTSD related symptom. They're all very physically and mentally exhausting. It seems dumb because it's like, oh, you're just thinking about something. How can that be exhausting? But like, it's very, very draining to think about something that's so intense, you know? I mean, it's hard because a lot of people, I feel like they only think about PTSD when they think about like war and stuff like that. So that's a good example to use. But you know, like imagine you were in a war. Imagine you now picture that war when you close your eyes. You're not going to want to close your eyes. And those moments when you do close your eyes and you picture it and you suddenly have to experience that, it rattles you, it shakes you for a bit. And it takes time to recover from that. Even though it's just a thought, like it's just a mental thing, it has a physical impact on you. And so, in addition to having, you know, just fatigue, medical issues, mood swings, insano bitch mode, I also am dealing with lots of trouble sleeping, which is not helping with the intense fatigue. And so I'm all over the fucking place. My brain is complete mush and non-functional. It's just for looks right now, and it don't look very good. So it's really not helping me. and like, I don't know. I don't remember where I started with this conversation, but long story short, brain don't work, can't think, don't know how to human. Oh, hiccup, sorry. I also can't stop burping, which is like the most appealing thing in the world. I'm sure everyone's very turned on by that. But like, hot damn. Constant. Yeah, TLDR, monkey brain, for sure. Exactly. Monkey brain, very tired, very cranky, emotional. Stability is -4. For now, it may go down. But yeah, I don't know, life just be hard right now, and I think that like it's difficult enough trying to like do day-to-day functions. The thought of trying to do anything more than just survive sounds impossible. So I don't know. I'm just doing my best. But I think the stress of it also is not helping either. There's a lot of things to think about. Like, I don't know, man. I have to worry about money. I have to worry about food, paying my bills, and now I have to worry about a child. And like, obviously, I'm definitely a resourceful person, so no matter what, I'll figure out a way to make things work. But it doesn't reduce the amount of anxiety and stress I have over it. I'm definitely one of those people who worries much more than is necessary or helpful in any way. So like, the paranoia and fear are eating me alive. But really, yeah, it's just sort of a ooh, purple. It's sort of a time right now, I guess you could say. I'm like very excited, but I'm also like so fucking stressed. And then like, ooh, let's talk about my job too. My job seems to really like me. But the imposter syndrome is eating me alive. It's so hard to not feel like a fucking idiot clown, just like trying to act like somebody who knows what they're doing. Like, yeah, I've done my job for years. I know what I'm doing, but at the same time, like, second guessing yourself is so fucking easy. Ooh, girl, I could do that every day, all day. Like, and then like, I have this hard thing where I can't help but imagine the way that people see me. I build up this image in my head about who I think they're looking at. My assumptions of their expectations, and their viewpoint of me. And I know a lot of that's just some bullshit I made up in my head. Like, they've never said anything specific to be like, oh, you're trash, you need to try harder. But like, it doesn't make my brain think that any less. And it's a new job. And I have a problem where like sometimes I I am unsure about like how much I should say about things. So like I tend to explain things very detailed when I explain them. I work in a job that's very technical, and I'm not dumb. I know that 99% of the people I work with are not technical people, so they don't fucking understand. And I do not blame them. But like one of my really good skills is being able to explain technical things to non-technical people using non-technical examples. You know, just like explaining everything in a way that's understandable to a normal person. And I am proud of how I can do that, but I do that every time. I do it every time. It's just like a natural state. I want them to understand why I'm making the decisions I am so that they trust me. Because I'm sure you all grew up with someone like this. Because I said so is not a valid, reasonable answer for me. It doesn't give me the information I need to know what's happening, and it doesn't give me the information I need to trust your opinion or your sources. If anything, it leaves me feeling more untrusting. Because I feel like you've kept me in the dark, in a way. And so, I think that's one of the reasons I feel like I really, really have to explain things to people, is because I really don't like the idea of just being like, well, I said that, so that's how it's gonna be. Or, you know, I made the decision, so this is how it is. I want the whys, hows, and who's, where's, what's, you know? I don't want to feel like I am at the mercy of somebody stupid who might be choosing things based off of not the best options or not the best choices. They're just making it on the, you know, cuff of their pants. They're just throwing something out there. But so I feel like that's a good and a bad trait. It's good because people understand things. It's bad because I talk too much. But I can't always tell if people like that I do that. I know that there are some people that prefer me to just shut the fuck up and tell them, no, you can't do that, and then walk away, versus me to explain why they can't do that and the negative impacts of it. But like, I'm still in the learning stages of this company, of knowing where the people in it stand, what their preferences are as people, and like how they prefer things to be done individually on a personal basis. So like, my anxiety is high. But also I feel like shit for that, because like my company, everyone in my company has been so fucking nice and welcoming, and they've done nothing but tell me how great I am. And I feel like I'm a piece of shit for like judging myself for them. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like, if they knew that I was second guessing and stressing so much, they probably wouldn't have hired me, because they would have thought that I didn't have the confidence in my skills. And that's really hard, because like I do have the confidence in my skills, but I'm just afraid of judgment and disappointing people. And like, I don't know. Why are you so fucking far away? Come over here, sir. Is it just me? I feel like it keeps moving very far away. Oops, I meant to click that. I meant to click this. Ooh, what should I get? Let's do lifesteal. But so, I know that my coworkers really like me. I know that my bosses really like me. I know that they already are like appreciating my work. We had this thing happen where so the system we work in has an API available. I'm gonna talk technical for a bit, so if it doesn't make sense, that's fine. Just I think I'll make it. I'll explain it well enough. So the API allows you to do things in the system that aren't like direct things that are easily accessible. It makes it so you can customize stuff a little bit more. And so The API requires what's called an API key, which is a client secret, and a client ID, which is essentially just a credentials. It's just a password and a username. The difference is just the password is like this generated one, and it's like super, super long. And the ID is also generated, and it's, again, like just a random string of shit. Monsters, come get me. Anyone who's ever used the API for our system should understand that these are two things that you need, first of all. And secondly, they should be able to find the documentation needed to do this thing. Okay? It's like they've got the name of it, they just need to be able to Google it now. Like there's nothing like super intense about it. They just need to be able to find the documentation that tells them absolutely everything they need to know. The documentation for this API is very well written and very detailed, so there's no questions. It tells you pretty much everything you need to know as far as the basics go to get the information you need. And for what this company is doing, this is like a company we're hiring for like an integration thing to make something custom for us. They're supposed to be making this custom thing that they've made before. Now they're selling it as AI, which pisses me off just to begin with because it's not AI. There's a very big problem in the industry, in my opinion, in any industry right now that references AI. And it's because of their usage of the word AI. They are calling everything and anything AI. Automations, AI. Conditions, AI. And the thing is an AI is a learning system. It's a system that changes and grows with the information you provide it. It's not put in a box. It only does what you tell it to do. It essentially can make its own decisions. Automations, conditions, things like that are specific, detail-specific groups of information that you provide a thing and say, make a decision based off of this. If they answer yes to this, then it's red. If they answer no, then it's blue. Like, it does things based on what you tell it to do. So they're referring to their plugin as AI, which it is 130% not AI, and it makes me angry because AI is just a buzzword that these companies are using to charge more. And I think it's unreasonable, and I think it's something we shouldn't be wasting our time with. I'm losing my voice a little bit more, so if I start to sound worse, I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know, man. That's just how it goes. But so I knew that the company was working to set up this integration, and they had invited me to one of the meetings with the other company, but they had set up the meeting right during a doctor's appointment I had, so I wasn't able to attend. And so afterwards, my boss had asked me some questions, and the questions gave me hardcore red flags. Remember I had mentioned the client secret that is basically a username and a password. So my boss had asked me for the client secret, and I knew, or I'm sorry, my boss had asked me for the API key, but my boss did not know that there were two pieces of information. They thought it was just a key, you know, like you would register a product with. They didn't know that it was a password username. And so when I sent them the information, I sent them it formatted in a like 2 lines with the username on one line and the password on another line, but I didn't specify that that's what they were. I know this is kind of shit on my part, but I did it on purpose. It's this thing where, like, when I'm untrusting of something and I don't want to call it out right away, I like to, like, put a test in place to see where it goes. You know? Which sounds like a shit, I don't know. It makes me sound like an asshole. But it's like, which is worse? Somebody questioning you and calling you stupid, or somebody finding out that you're stupid because you did something stupid? you know, I don't know. But so, when she sent the credentials to the person, she put it all in one word, just one big line of characters. Now the thing is the ID and the password aren't always the same length of characters. So there would have been no way for the dev on the other side to look at it and say, oh, well, the first 10 characters are probably the credentials or the username. Let me just try that. You know, it would have been like, okay, well, is it the first 10? Is it the first 6? Is it the first 4? Like, what do I do? And they should have asked about it. Or they should have, I don't know. Honestly, when they sent the information, when they sent the question, they should have specified. Working with a client who doesn't know technical things, you should provide them everything you need. You should provide them instructions on how to get the API key, first of all. Go exactly to this place, copy this information, and provide it to me like this, in this format. You hand them a guide, they do it, they give you the information you need. And it's exactly the way you need it. Having this like back and forth of like, oh, well, I think I got it for you. Google said to find it here, and you not telling them like what you're looking for or any details and referring to it as the API key instead of 2 pieces of information, you're setting them up for failure. And I just think it's, when you're working with clients, it's better to keep things dumbed down if they don't understand the technical side of things. And it's better to give them very specific details and instructions because it makes them feel more comfortable collecting that information for you and providing you the right information. Otherwise, you get a lot of people being like, I think this is what you're looking for, or like taking a long time to provide the information because they're really not sure and they don't want to seem stupid. So you give them everything to make it as easy as possible for them to get what you need. To do it any other way seems wasteful in a way to me. But so I had given her this information in a way that I knew it wouldn't be easily understood by them unless they knew what they were looking at, because I felt suspicious about it. And I really didn't like some of the things, how they were wording stuff. They had like no documentation and they were not giving much specifics. It seemed just like a scam, basically. I thought that my company was about to be scammed, so I was testing them. And so, they never asked about it. They never asked about the client ID or client secret. They didn't ask anything about it. But they did ask us a bunch of other dumb questions. Like, what's the URL for the API? Now, the thing is some APIs do use, like, a URL, but this is, the way that the system works is a little bit different, and, like, again, the documentation has everything written down, and the URL, I'm doing quotes, but you can't tell, that you use is the one that everyone uses. So if you've ever used this API, you would know. So, like, everything was pointing towards these people having never touched one of these in their life. And like, I told my boss finally, I was like, look, I'm real fucking suspicious of this. I feel like these people don't actually know what they're doing. I feel like they're promising you things that aren't possible. And I don't like it. And we talked about it a little bit more. Because my boss had forwarded me an email about, like, that they had sent. And I was like, this email does not make sense. And this sounds like they don't know what they're doing. Like, are you sure we're doing the right thing by hiring these people? Like, I feel uncomfortable with this situation. And so, we set up a meeting to talk with them. And I don't know, right off the bat, they seemed like they were kind of like trying to play up their skills a lot. Trying to be like, oh yeah, we've done a bunch of custom things like this. I wanted them to explain to me exactly what their expectations of this process would be, because if you're explaining to somebody who has no technical background, you should explain it one way, and if you're explaining to somebody who has a technical background, you may explain it a different way. And so they couldn't really explain it either way. They were having like a really difficult time. They were having like a really difficult time explaining what the thing did and how it worked. Which, like, it's your product. Like, you can't explain it. And then you don't have any documentation. What do you provide customers when they're interested? Like, do you just call them up and say, yeah, it's a thing that does a thing? Like, what is this? It doesn't really seem very professionally thought out and executed. And so I was able to get some more information. And it does seem like they've done this before, but they've only done it for like a very specific scenario. It sounds like it was one use case that they tested with, and they were like, oh, it worked, so let's say that we can do it in all these other things. But like, they had no fucking idea if it was actually possible. Like, they had no concept of what the tasks they were looking to do would require. And like, it required like a huge amount of integrations with these other companies, these service industry, or not service industry in the way that you're thinking, but servicing, like loan servicing. And like, they were like, well, they have APIs we can use, right? And it's like, not everyone exposes their API to the public to utilize for information. So sometimes if you want to utilize a company's API and they don't provide it, you have to work with them to find some custom options for you, and you have to pay for it. So like, the fact that they didn't even know these things, like, felt like they were fucking a mess. And like, the whole time we're talking to them, I'm like telling my boss, I'm like, look, man, like, I think this is suspicious as hell. And I explained like all my reasonings why. I pointed out the fallacies and the like things that they said incorrectly that didn't make sense. I explained why they didn't make sense, all while talking to them. I was messaging my boss on the side because I wanted my boss to be able to have a hand in the conversation, even though they aren't a technical person. They didn't fully understand the background. I wanted them to understand me explaining it to them, and them then saying, okay, well, I see what she says, and what you're saying doesn't match that. And that she would feel comfortable questioning it if she needed to. And so like, it was like a whole ass mess because it was ugly. It was ugly for sure. I did not like it. Oops, missed. I don't know what our plan is, if we're gonna give them a try to like develop it and see how they do, or if we're gonna just drop them. But yeah, it definitely didn't. It's sus, you know? It's sus as hell. But we'll see. But anyways, my point being, bringing this whole thing up, is it does seem like my boss and my coworker like trust my opinion and listen to my feedback and suggestions for things, and like believe in me, I guess you could say. But I am terrified of fucking up. I'm terrified of like letting them down, of like not being good enough and losing my job. The market is so fucking volatile right now, and there's just no jobs. Like, it's very, very hard to find a job in the industry that I'm currently working on. There are so many people who are currently jobless, suffering because there's no positions open, and the positions that were open are you know, paying nothing, because that's a big problem we're having too. So COVID caused this big increase in the need for staff, and so companies were getting they were doing more sales and they were doing better, so they were like, yeah, we're gonna pay you this big amount because you have the skills and we really want you to come to our company because you have so many options available. But as the market started to change, those same companies were like, shit, we promised to pay this person all this money, and now we don't want to waste this money on them. because we're not making enough money and we need it back. So we're gonna lay them off to get that money for other uses. And we'll just figure out a cheaper alternative in the meantime for the job that this person used to do. And so they lay you off, and then they either don't replace you or they replace you with somebody that they try to get somebody with similar skill for like less than half the pay. And because there are so many like people looking for work, people have to take it. They have no choice. And it's hard because nobody wants to like be paid less than what they're worth. And it makes them question their worth. And it makes them feel like shit, or at least it makes me feel like shit. And like it sucks. Cause like I'm getting paid less than what I was. I'm getting paid like, what is it, like 15,000 less than what I was. Which is shit. It's shit. It makes me feel like something I've done has brought down my value as a human, my worth. And in honesty, it's the market, and it's how these companies like shelled out all this money because they needed us in the meantime. And now that they're not making enough money, they're like, oh, we'll fucking drop the dead weight. And I'm the dead weight. And so it's like there's not that I could have done anything to change it. I can't make the market better. That's not how my job works. So, like, I have no power there to protect my job. Even if I do my job perfectly, if the company can't afford to pay me, then there's nothing I can do. So it's really hard to not feel that severe anxiety and stress around job stability. Because you have no power. There's nothing you can do about it. You are nothing but a pawn to companies that they can utilize to make money and to save money. And I think that's the hardest part about being laid off, because you can't help but tie that job to your value as a human. But your performance doesn't mean anything when you get laid off. You could be the best staff, the best employee they have, and they'll lay you off because they're paying you slightly more than this other person. Or they'll lay you off because they think they can get away with one person instead of two, and your name just happens to come last in the alphabet. Like, it's crazy, and it's sad, and it sucks. But so my days are filled with constant anxiety because I'm scared of losing my job. I'm scared of not being able to, like, pay my bills and not being able to, like, buy everything in the world for this baby. Like, I'm gonna be the fucking mom that spoils their child immensely, but also makes sure they're disciplined and not little assholes. I want to make sure that, like, I buy things that are safe and healthy for my kid, and that costs money, unfortunately. And so, like, I have a lot of fear. I don't want to be let go again. I don't want to be laid off. I don't want to be fired. I don't want any of these things to happen, especially when it has no tie to my value as a human. A lot of the time it has nothing to do with me. But my brain always puts it onto that. It's always, oh, if you had worked harder, oh, if you had done better, if you had done this, if you had, you know, not gotten pissed off at that sexual harassment comment, if you had not, you know, told your boss that this wouldn't work. Like, it's difficult. And it's disappointing, you know? I don't want to feel disappointed in myself for situations that I don't have a control over. But yeah. Long story short, I feel like shit. I'm scared of everything. What do I want? I guess another teddy bear would always help me. Probably probably do some more syringes. Hello, enemies. Come kill me. I need your bodies to make gold. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I won't have anxiety. Well, it's like kind of like I watched the Styles Theory that came out recently about how Gen Z looks old. And like one of the things they talked about is it's because of all the stress. And I think that like is really spot on. That we're definitely looking older because of how fucking stressed we are. Well, I'm not Gen Z, but I'm close enough. But like, I don't know, we all have a lot on our plate. We have a lot of debt already at such a young age. We have a lot of like fears. We have a lot of trouble with jobs. We have a lot of like difficulty finding houses. There's all these things that we're like suffering from that we can't change or make any impact on, no matter what we do. So it's like, yeah, of course we feel really stressed and depressed and anxious and upset. Like the world is fucking us. What do you mean? Why would we not feel like this? But I think that really like hits the nail on the head of like why people just are having a really difficult time. I don't know, there's so much shit out here about like, oh, millennials and Gen Z want too much from their employers. They're refusing to work lower paid jobs. And like, I get so mad when I see these articles because like they leave out some of the most important fucking things. You know, like, oh, Gen Z refuses to be underpaid and unable to purchase groceries every week. You know? Like, wouldn't it be nice if I could afford food with my salary? Wouldn't it be nice if I could afford a place to live? But like, I don't know, all these people are so unrealistic about these numbers, these amounts of money, these things that people are doing, the worth of a person based on their job skills. I think that's one that like really frustrates me. Is like we put a value of worth on a person depending on what type of job they do. These jobs are considered better and more productive and special than these jobs. Well, why? Why is it that like you're saying that this person isn't worth anything because they work at McDonald's? You like to eat fucking McDonald's, don't you? Okay, then they matter to you. They have value to you. So why treat them like shit? You know? I have a hard time understanding it. Like, yeah, there's people I dislike. Of course. Everyone has somebody they dislike. But I think it's absurd to like group a whole like category of human or a whole age group of human into a category and say that they're all this way because of like some bullshit you made up in your head. And even if they are that way, I don't know if that many people are that way. Why? Like, doesn't that seem like it's saying something? Like, you know, if 600 people say they're starving and 10 people say, well, I'm not starving, why are you starving? Are you just not spending your money properly? I don't know, man. That kind of seems like there's a fucking problem that's causing those people to fucking starve. Like, you can't just disregard their issue because you don't like it and you're not currently starving. Like, that's stupid. But everyone's so short-sighted and selfish, I feel like, about their thoughts and decisions and, like, how they portray these things. I don't know, like... And it's crazy, too, like... This is a great example. Okay. My dad recently retired. First of all, I don't get along with my dad. We're not on good terms. But this has nothing to do with that portion of it. This is just generally speaking. If anyone was like this, I'd feel the same way. He's retired, which is fine. Good for him, you know? That's great. Congratulations. The problem is he's fucking bored. And so because he's bored, he's just spending a shit ton of money. But the thing is my mom is 14 years younger than my father. She was young and stupid. She got locked in and stuck. But because she's younger, she was going to retire early with him. And he told her that she wasn't allowed to, that she had to keep working. And so my mom is still working hard every day. And my mom has always done, more retail type jobs. She's worked fast food, retail. Right now she's working at like Lowe's. So it's always been considered like what my dad considers like a low paying shit job that like aren't worth anything. So like my dad has a bad viewpoint on people who work these lower income jobs. But he's forcing her to work. And he's a dick about it. And then he takes all the money and then he spends it all the time to like do what he calls like home improvements and stuff. It's stuff he's bored, so he's trying to do projects. But he's too old now, and so he's just like fucking destroying things. And blowing money. But like that money is money that my mom is working hard to make. And then he does things like he did the other day. He got jealous because my mom was talking to me on the phone. How dare she speak to anyone other than him? And so she had just come home from like a fucking 8-hour shift, and he's like cooked dinner. He's been sitting at home the whole time. He makes her cook dinner, and then he fucking takes a nap. But the thing is when I talk to him on the phone, he's like, oh yeah, I really need to get another job. I'm bored and I don't really like staying at home. And I'm like, oh cool, then like get a job someplace like chill, you know, get a job like doing something like fun, like I don't know, working at like an outdoor lawn place or like a fucking, I don't know, whatever you want, like relaxing. Just work manning the desk at like a museum that like you barely have to do anything. And my dad's like, ew, those jobs are below me. To my mom, who currently is working those jobs. But my dad's always been like a CIO of a company, Chief Information Officer and shit like that. So he's always been higher up. He's always been very corporate. And he's always been very pompous and narcissistic about it. I'm sorry, the dogs are playing and they're being chaotic. And so, like, his fucking narcissist bullshit is, like, making it seem like my mom's shit because she's working a lower paid job, but he's not working at all. He's using all the money she's making fucking, I don't know. It's some shit, okay? It pisses me off a lot. I think it's unfair and shitty, and like there's nothing I can do about it. Like, he's not gonna listen to me. My mom won't leave him, so like I have no power here. Like, I just have to watch the world burn. But so, my point being is he looks down on these lower paid jobs. He would rather sit at home and not be paid for doing anything and just use all the money on like buying random shit than go work as a welcomer at Walmart, you know? Go work at Home Depot in the fucking garden department. You know, all of those are below him. And it's not like we're saying, like, go work at McDonald's. Like, and even if we were, like, that's still a reasonable, fair job. And, like, plenty of people work that, and, like, it pays them. But, like, the thing is he just sees it as below him. And it's not good enough for his skills and his knowledge and what he has to offer. And so it's just trash. I don't know, it's just the way he views it as, like, again, I'm gonna say it for the 100th time, below him. It's, I don't know the word for it. It's like that, that old mindset of, like, I am a noble and you are a peasant. You are below me and you should be doing jobs below me. A noble would never clean a horse pen. Like, why would I? That's disgusting. The animals are left to be taken care of by the animals. Like that kind of thing. And I hate it. And that's part of the, I feel like that's a strong part of the reason why minimum wage has not been increasing to match, fuck, what's the name of that thing? Inflation? Is that the word I'm looking for? I think that's the word I'm looking for. If it's not, just make believe it is the word I'm looking for. Income hasn't been changing to match its requirements based on, like, living conditions and costs. And, like, we act like it's not a big deal because we see these people as below us. Because if you work a well-educated, higher-paying job, then you don't have as much trouble. Well, yeah, but, you know, there's got to be somebody to work what you consider the lower-paid jobs, the dirt below your feet. You need somebody to work those jobs. You want somebody to work those jobs. You're not going to go and be a mechanic, but you need your car to function to get your fucking business-ass office job. So, like, why do you look so down upon those people and pay them nothing? They also have a car they need to be able to get to their job. But they should be paid less. Like, the value comparison between people's jobs and skills is something I find really difficult. Because I feel like it's just built on this, like, false mindset of, like, putting people under your feet and saying they're not as good as you. Why? Like, I've met geniuses at places that you would never imagine, you know? When I don't know if I've talked about some of my old jobs, but for a while, I was a janitor. I was a janitor at a middle school and an elementary school. And, you know, it wasn't that bad of a job, honestly. And the people there were really nice. They were really hardworking. They were smart as hell. But they were treated like trash because they cleaned up trash. But, like, someone's gotta clean it. You don't want it to be dirty, right? So why treat those people like shit? They're doing a job that you don't want to do. You're paying them. Like, I don't know. Shit's weird. It's really weird to me. But, like, I've worked so many random jobs that, like, I've met insanely smart people. I've met people who are, like, resourceful, like, just way better than me in every way. But, you know, for whatever reason, they're working in this job. Maybe they like it. Maybe they really like the job itself. Maybe they can't get another job because of their legal status. Maybe they can't get another job because of their citizenship, you know, because of their schooling. It used to be a huge fucking thing about if you didn't go to college, you would not get a job. It's still a big thing to some degree. Maybe with some companies, depending on their hiring manager. So, like, I don't know, I just feel like that's stupid. Like, why? But I feel the same way about, like, the dislike for, like, tattoos and, like, dyed hair and stuff. People are just shit about it. Oh, thank you. My lovely husband brought me food because he knows that I haven't eaten because I'm dumb. But, like, I feel like the things that we use to give value to people, to give them worth, are skewed and make no sense. And because we're so focused on those things, we forget about the important things, like fucking making sure they can eat and survive on a daily basis based on the salary they're being paid. You know, it shouldn't be that you're in college and you have to have 6 jobs in order to, like, pay for your schooling and have some place to live. You You shouldn't have to have that many jobs in the first place. You should be getting paid enough for a living wage from at least like 1 to 2 jobs at most. In the case that, like, let's say you're doing a part-time job that maybe it's not paying as much of a salary. Like, I don't know, it really blows my mind. Fucking dodged, bitch. Sorry, I'm gonna stop talking because I'm thinking. By thinking, I mean I'm trying not to die. But anyways, I don't know. I feel like if people put themselves in other people's shoes more, we would be able to make better laws and better understanding of things. And we wouldn't be so shit. But at the same time, I don't know that that's necessarily, like, the magic fix-all. Because it's like, if I put myself in a racist's shoes, that doesn't make me feel okay with the way that they are. So, like, it's trying to find a balance. There's only so much I can do. But I do wish that it was easier to feel comfortable, like, viewing people's experiences and understanding them. Giving them a chance to just exist and not feel like they're not worthy of life. They're not worthy of care. You know, even the way that we treat our homeless is really weird to me. And like a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're veterans, like what happened? And yeah, we keep pointing that out, but nobody's fucking done anything about it. Like, why is it that all of our veterans are homeless and unpaid and struggling? Like, good question. Nice. Did it. Mithrix, you done for, bitch. But anyways, yeah, I don't know, I could bitch all day. Man, I feel like I'm moving so slow. I should've got more hooves. I just want things to be better in the world. I mean, I feel like that's such a generic, basic ass bitch statement, but like, wouldn't it be nice? Like, just imagine people being able to like buy groceries. People being able to like find a place to live. And like actually pay for it. People not being mistreated due to like stupid things from their background. I don't know, like, Yeah, of course there are things that should still be very important. Like, did you murder somebody? Yes, okay, you're bad. But like there are things that shouldn't be quite as important. Like, oh, you did drugs once. Oh, when you were 12, you stole a car. Like, you know, you still had some time to grow. Like, you stupid, yeah, for sure. But that could have been lots of things at that time. You could have been dealing with your parents' divorce. You could have been dealing with a friend's death. You could have been dealing with lots of things. Like, doesn't necessarily make you a monster to like have a hard time and be shit for a little bit, you know? So, I don't know. I wish life was easier for people. It's been a while since I left the end credits on. So let's leave them on while we finish up. I know I spoke about it last week, but I'll mention it again. I am pregnant, which means that I'm very tired all the time and I've got a lot of shit going on in my life. I'll keep you guys in the loop because I do think it's interesting, like learning stuff about my suffering. And you know, I just want you guys to know that I am trying to be active and alive, but it's not as easy as it used to be. I'm not like super pregnant yet, but it's the first trimester is surprisingly super difficult because I'm very sick and I'm very weak and my body's trying to like cook real fucking hard, and this cake is expensive. Hades, I already done. You took too long. Did you watch last week's? But anyway, so I won't be streaming quite as often as I had been. I know we're on year 3 of me streaming, I think, and I'm like cutting it back and not being great. Look, it's my tattoo. But you know, we can do what we gotta do. Supposedly the sickness and everything starts to get better from like week 12 to 15, which should be right around the corner. And so like if that's the case, oh, I will hydrate, actually, good point. Water. If that's the case, then once I start feeling better, I'll probably start streaming more again. But for now, like, it's just too physically draining to do anything. I've spent a lot of time just sleeping and just sitting around. I'm very much a multitasker kind of person, I'm sure you guys have noticed. But so I don't do a very good job of just like sitting there and doing nothing. But like I feel like lately I haven't been able to like do things. that came out all jumbled. Let me try again. Normally I multitask hard. Where I actually finished playing it, by the way, Hades. I already completely finished that game. Sorry I didn't stream it. My bad. It was very cute. I needed something relaxing to play. You guys should check it out. It's cute. It's not a super long game. I think it took me... Let me check. How many hours did it take me to play it? 5 hours? But I also was trying to do all the achievements. The achievements are broken, by the way. So you guys don't suffer my same pain. So some of the achievements don't apply properly. I reported it, but like, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You can't banhammer the streamer, sorry, bro. But anyways, I'm hoping I'll start to feel better and I'll be able to stream more. I'll probably be streaming like strictly basic bitch games, Risk of Rain, things that are really simple and easy and mindless, because I'm having a lot of trouble like thinking, using my brain, functioning, because my brain's busy doing other things. So, you know, just give me a break. But if you guys do have any suggestions for like some fun, chill, like mindless type games, that'd be cool. Just let me know. I'm thinking maybe next week I'll play something a little bit more. Something that maybe I've played before so that it's easier for me. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, Cammy is in my lap cuddling with me now. And I'm going to probably lay down for a little bit because I don't feel very well. But thank you all for chilling with me. It was a good run. I'm glad we defeated Mithrix and we received a victory, unlike last weekend, which we fucking failed like losers. So yeah. Thanks guys for chilling. I'll see you all next time. Bye!